So in this section of the tutorial, we're going to go over the switch function.
Okay.
So in the last example that we just had, we had a bunch of different cases of if statements.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's this, do this. If it's that, do that. If it's that, do that.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of having a whole long list of if statements, we can just do a switch statement.
Alrighty.
So we say, you know, a very simplified way of saying, in this case, do that. In this case, do that. In this case, do that.
Right. And also there's a default case, so if all these cases fail, fall to this.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to let, I guess we could just go ahead and code a simple switch statement here. Just, you know.
Okay, so how about we maybe use some characters. So we'll input a character, and if the character is A, we'll output 1. If the character is B, we'll output 3. If the character is C, we'll output 5.
Okay. And if it's none of those, output
10.
There you go. So let's just do
0.
this. We'll do char, since we haven't worked with a character yet.
Right.
Char C. Good enough. And I believe the syntax is something along these lines. Switch, and then inside here, we're going to have the variable. And then we're going to create a block. Right?
Right.
So now what we're going to do is, I guess before we have this, prompt the user to enter a single letter. And they will give us C. And then we're going to test C to see if it fits.
So so with this switch, we'll say, you know, in this case, we'll do this. So we do that by saying case.
Single quote A, and single quote colon. Now,
Right.
why do we do a single quote? Because it's a
Character.
and not a string. Exactly.
Right. Strings are quotation marks, whereas characters are surrounded by hyphens.
Mm-hmm. Or single quotes.
Single quotes.
So we're going to go to the next line. So when it's case A, C out
1.
1. 1. 1.
There we go.
Third time's the charm. We'll just do that. C out 1.
Mm-hmm.
And case B colon.
We'll output 3.
I'm doing something bad, but I need to show. We need to do this the wrong way to show everybody.
Okay.
C out 2. And we'll do one more case and then a default. Cause case C. Whoops. C out 3. And then last one, default colon C out what? 4?
0.
0.
Okay.
All right.
So now what's going to happen when this runs is it's going to check case A, see if it's failed or not, check case B, and it's going to go down the line. So if we want to make this run a little more efficient, what we can do is at the end of the command that we run, we'll put break.
Well, let's see what it looks like before.
Okay.
We'll run an F9. We're going to do case. Enter an A. What happened? What happened to our beautiful little program here? Do you know what happened? What happened is it ran through case 1, and then after it tested case 1, all the other ones tested true too. Now I know that kind of sounds like a useless control structure, but there is a way around this, and that is because we missed a very important keyword.
Right.
So what we have to do is, if case 1 is true, output 1, and then after that, get out of here.
Right.
And we do that by typing break.
Right.
Now, we're going to just copy and paste this beneath every single one of our cases. And I apologize that we're kind of running out of space and we're going to have to scroll down. We don't have to put it for underneath default, because default is just going to end.
Right. So now the reason why it's designed to have this break is because sometimes there might be instances where you want it to not apply to a certain number. Like let's say you want, if it's C, you also want to have all the cases below, or if it's B, you want to also include all of the commands below.
So let's do an F9. Run this. A outputs a 1. Very simple, just like it said here. So what it did is it took in C, it tested C, it equaled A, it printed 1, it got out of the switch.
Right.
And then it added the line break at the end. So let's test it again. We'll do C.
Okay.
We got 3. Exactly the way the program was intended to work. And we'll check the default case.
Right, so we'll do Z.
0.
Perfect.
Good. And that's a very simple switch statement. Is there anything else you wanted to add to this?
Well, so the other way we would have done this with an if statement is we would have said, if C is equal to A, do this. Else, if C is equal to B, do this, and so on. So that would have, this really simplifies the coding.
Right.
And
of
this scenario.
This is nice because you can have a whole chunk of code here. This could be 500 pages if you want it to be, and then at the end of that 500 pages, we can break the switch.
Right.
And it makes it a little bit neater because we have a lot less curly braces to confuse with one another.
Right.
So I mean, when you start writing giant programs where you do if all over the place, the curly braces starts to get hard to match them up to one another.
Yes.
And when you start compiling the program, you have all these incredible errors, and it just drives you insane.
And it could just be because of one curly brace.
Yes, and sometimes you just can't find where it is. You have to erase the whole piece of code you wrote and start from scratch, and that's no fun.
No.
So we're going to end this video here, and we're going to continue with loops after this.
Yep.